Hey, everybody. Hi, this is Lakita. It is Mental Monday, and we are launching it out right now today. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties with our radio stuff, but we are here. We are excited. I want to thank everybody so much for all of the chiming in that you did regarding the topics. We've got topics galore from everything to help our marriage and all of that. So we are excited about Mental Monday. I'll have to do the live radio later on, and because there were some technical difficulties with the radio, but we wanted to make sure we still went live with the Mental Monday right now. And so first of all, I just want to say thank you, and I'm so super duper excited, everybody. I want to thank all of you guys for chiming in last week as the soft launch. We chimed in last week as the soft launch for Mental Mondays, and I'm looking over here. Let me just kind of move all of my gadgets and everything over so I can actually see my information, so I can only just look at you guys and the camera. I am so excited because we have to talk about real stuff, real issues. And so tell somebody every Monday at 11:30, we're going to be doing Mental Mondays. It's going to be off the hook. I'm telling you. And so let me just get back to my first little intro. We got considerable amount of feedback regarding the topics. I want to thank my brothers. The brothers from everywhere was chiming in. They love the topics. They love the essence and the spirit of where we're going with this. We will be talking again about sexless marriages, because I only tapped into it just a little bit, but we are going to talk about all kind of topics. Why your wife doesn't want to have oral sex anymore, and know that I'm coming from a biblical place. I'm coming from being a Christian woman, but we're going to deal with some real cultural issues and things of our day: singleness, money, economics, but how we mentally deal with it all. So I just want to thank you guys so much for the feedback. It's been incredible. And I want to thank you so much for logging in. Now, Mental Mondays, just so that we understand, Mental Mondays, well, first of all, let me just go back, just in case people don't know who I am. My name is Lakita Long, and I'm the host of Mental Monday Show. And this is actually a segment of the Lakita Long Show. So the Lakita Long Show is a radio show that started about 1.5 years ago and has a variety of different other kind of radio segments. We have Faith Focus Friday, so you can go to a Blog Talk Radio and listen to our archived radio station stuff that we have. And so we're so excited about that. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a mental health professional, college professor, counselor, brand enthusiast. I'm a sister to sisters, and I'm a friend to the brothers. I love the brothers. I love them because they are sometimes so misunderstood. Not sometimes, most of the time. And I just believe that there is something that we're all supposed to do. And I think that we need each other to be able to do that. So we are going to get down to the business. And for those who know me, I'm affectionately known as the People's Therapist. I'm a mother of 2. I have a daughter that's 10 and a son that's 7.5. And, you know, I believe in hope. I believe in healing, love, and the ability to change. And although I'm divorced, you know, I believed in my marriage. I believed in it to the bitter end until I had to, for safety reasons, for all kind of stuff. At that time, I had to move on. But where I'm going and why I'm so passionate about personal development and empowerment, I am passionate about it, is because I get an opportunity to use biblical principles and literally personal stories to help augment other people's lives. I think that we are here today, and well, I'll just say for myself, I'm here today because God, and I get all choked up and emotional because God saved me. I am a product of God's grace. I was an absolute mess before I met the Lord. And so I had bad attitude. I was definitely going to be one of those statistic girls that so many people talk about today, which is why I'm so passionate, which is why I believe that you can never have enough friends, which is why I believe you have to just be the friend to everybody, because I was the person that I was humiliated. I was talked about at other people's expenses. I was embarrassed. I was sexually abused. I was date raped at 14. So many things. And it could have really all set me back in a way that was serious. I mean, whatever has happened, I have had it happen to me. But thanks be unto God that he has given me the ability to love the skin that I'm in and be passionate about other people. And so this is why I do what I do. Now, as it pertains to, and let me just say this too, my heart has been totally healed from many things, so many things. And so I believe that I have a lot of knowledge, a lot of information about how we can deal with things better and be better. So I'm here. I don't have all the answers, but I trust God. He is the epitome. He is the essence of my very being. I trust the Holy Spirit for everything. And so even around areas of singleness, and I mean, we're going to talk about topics like going rogue after divorce. I'm going to tell a story on my own self, so y'all want to chime in about that. I went a little rogue after I got divorced, and many other Christian people go rogue too. They go rogue sexually, they go rogue, and they get a little bit crazy after divorce. And some people do it because they just went through so much hell. And so that was just like the escape. So we are going to deal with all kind of topics. So let me get down to the business, and please post your questions, if you will. I'm going to try to get to it. And I just wanted to make sure that we were all in about real live topics and about what it was that we needed to talk about and deal with. We're going to talk about stuff about that being sexy is not a sin. Being shapely is not a sin. I can't help that I have hips. I can't help how I dress, and I will admit, I have to really work on it, because one of the things that I struggled with prior to being saved, and I was saved as a young girl, but up until I was 15, 16 years old, I still wanted to dress a little bit provocative because that was just the thing that I loved. So I constantly still have to ask God to help me, making sure my dress is appropriate. I like long plunge dresses in the front, in the back, and I don't necessarily look at it as bad. I think that I just like it. And sometimes I'm able to get away with some things that other people just can't. So I have to watch it. So we're going to talk about all those things. But one of the things that I really am passionate about is that we as Christian believers, we've got to really deal with some stuff. Like, people wait too long to be married to be roommates. Like, I don't want to be married and be a roommate. I don't want to be married and not have sex. I don't want to be married and not have a friend. I need a friend. We're going to talk about, is your strength making you single? Women, we're going to talk about that. Or being too independent, is it causing you to remain single? And then so there's so many great topics we're going to talk about. We're going to deal with them. So just so we can get started with our topic about, is sex mental? Is sex mental? And let me just kind of give a little background history of Monday mental madness, if you will. I believe that the freedom from within gives us deliberate clues about one's mental sobriety. And I think that in order for us to deal with how we are, we've got to deal with our mental state. People come into God's house and church crazy. I don't care who you are. You came halfway crazy on some level because something in you felt like it was okay to do. That's why you did it as long as you did it until you came to the knowledge of the truth. So we all came into the church a little crazy, right? And so what I want us to start thinking about more is how God's word helps us to become better mentally. And then us applying the word every day so that we experience the beauty of God. And to deal with every area, emotionally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, sexually. I'm going to say it again, sexually. Deal with it. Do you know how many people come to me as Christians who are married? And the one thing I asked right off the bat, because I always have the couples to come together, and I asked the couples right off the bat, I said, I'm a straight shooter. I'm a Christian. We're going to deal with it biblical, but we're going to also deal with it realistically. And the first question I always ask right off the bat is, how's your sex life? And the husband will generally say, that's like his intro to getting comfortable with this whole bit about even being drawn to and having to come to counseling. The husband will always say, it ain't happening. And then I look at the woman who's saved and sanctified through the Holy Ghost, and she got her arms crossed and looking all dignified. And then I say to her, so tell me, why isn't it happening? And of course, it's something that he did 2, 5, 10 years ago that now the grudge is coming up and she holds back the sex. And I say to her, now what part of God is in that? Where do you read in your Bible that you get the right to hold back sex with your husband for something that happened 3 years ago? You know, you're not even living as a godly wife at this present moment. So I want to talk about for a second to kind of give us some contextual surrounding around sex. Sex is a natural thing to do. It is natural for us to do it. And it's a necessity for it to be done. And so what tends to happen, though, is we make sex bad, I think, primarily because of where we've come from. If you've come from a really promiscuous place, if you've come from a place where you've been sexually abused, for example, then sex might have some kind of way for you. If you've been raped, if you've been molested, whether it's a guy or a girl, or, okay, we're going to talk about this at another time, women in porn. Women are watching porn just as much as men, Christian women, and then blaming the man that he cheating, but it's really your guilt for watching porn. But that's a whole other subject. But pornography plays a big part in how people utilize sex and how they see sex. And I just think that it's unfair for those that come into Christ to then feel like they cannot remain a sexual being. Now, we have to lay down those sexual desires. We don't have to be dead like we've never had them. We have to lay them down so they don't get us into trouble and cause us to be outside of the peripheral of what God's word says for our life. But as it pertains to us moving into a place of marriage, we have to make a decision to satisfy our partner. And my question always is to the believer, how can you shout and jump in the church and you don't have good relations with your spouse? How can you speak in other tongues? How can you obey a man and women don't obey your man at home? You obey the pastor, but you won't respect and submit to your husband. And so it's kind of like, what's really going on? You know, so I'm looking at all these things, and I've looked at all these things for years, and I said, God, you know, because sex was not an issue for me when I was married, and it won't be an issue for me when I get married. I believe that it is powerful. It's not everything, but I believe it's a communicative way for the husband and the wife to remain in oneness. I mean, you can tell a lot when you're having sex with your spouse. You can tell where they're at. You can tell when you pass by them. You have a heavy thought about them. It's something that's deep on the inside of you when you are sexually active with your spouse. And that's probably why, one of the many reasons why God says don't do it until you are, you know, wedded to your spouse, because you're thinking about them. A certain movement in your head thinks about them. So yes, to answer the question, is sex all mental? I believe that it is. I believe that you can have an orgasm thinking about your spouse. I believe that you should have an orgasm thinking about your spouse and how they made you feel. I think that we need to talk more about how to excite one another. I think we have to create an atmosphere to where adultery and infidelity is not an essence of our relationship. You gotta, you know, the world is sending all kind of messages. So you know what? Hey, take a picture of yourself. If you are, this is all in the context of being married. Take a picture of yourself as a wife, women, and let it be provocative so that when your husband opens up his phone, that's the first thing he sees. And if you have great communication with your spouse, something should take place. He might not be able to get out to his job in the morning on time because you have wooed him back. And when you woo him back, it's not just about the sexual act. It's about what you tell him in his ear, that he's a great man. He's an awesome man. And believe it. Why would you be with a man that's not that? So sex is all mental to me. I think that a person has sex long before you touch me. I think that a person is sexual even in your conversations, which is why some people I won't even conversate with, not for my sake, because they are just in another realm. So I'm not even conversating with them, right? And so we are asking the question, and okay, the question came out. I see you, Miss Sharon. Are you single or married? I'm single. I was married for 7.5 years, and we were together for 11. I didn't have sex with him until we got married. And I'm speaking to both single and married people. And let me tell you why I say single people. As it pertains to the sexual act, of course, we're dealing with married people. But as it pertains to single people, I want you to stay on your game. I'm debunking the myth because I'm trying to ask God, why are all the people single? Why are the Christian women, why are we all single? What is really about that? You know, what is really, really going on with all this singleness? I'm like, this is like driving me nuts. And not that I can't be married right now. But what's really going on? And here's something that I thought about. We are not truthful. We're not truthful about our sexual selves. We're sometimes worse than the people in the world. We are doing one night stands quicker and faster than anybody else. And how I know? Because when I'm talking to men and just having conversation, I can tell that the previous women before me, their standard was so low. They think I should be going down on them. Like the first night. And I ain't talking about men in the world. I'm talking about the men in the church. Men in the church who feel like I should be going down on them sexually on the first time. And I'm thinking, well, where they do that at? And why would you think that I'm, as a Christian woman with a Christian man, that we're single? Yes, I'm sensual. Yes, I'm sexual. But I'm not giving you oral sex. You know, it ain't even about a 90-day rule. It's like we don't have nothing established. There's no context for this. No matter how, quote unquote, horny a single woman might get, because we do get that. If you just be truthful, horny Christian women, we get horny. But we have to learn how to put it in perspective. So the question is, yes, all mental aspects of sex takes place whether you're single or married. And I think that the single people have to constantly keep it in your head about how to remain fresh and sexual. And that's what I said too, Miss Carr. You know, where they do that at. But the reality of it all, people, is that what is it that you want from your life in general? One thing I know, you know, I get a lot of people that tell me, a lot of men that say, you're very sexy. And I said, thank you very much. And I take it as a compliment. And they're like, and I love that you're so graceful and you're so confident. And I said, thank you. You're really gorgeous. And so none of those things go to my head because I believe those things about myself. So when a guy comes and says all those things, that's great. Now, if I was in an exclusive relationship, and hear me very clearly, because sexual being sexual is all mental to me. If I'm in an exclusive relationship of courtship that's leading me to marriage and I'm with somebody, I don't even let it come on from another man, all those kind of compliments. He may can say it, but there should be something in my body language that doesn't give him the rein to want to come up and talk in that manner. And if he should, by happenstance, do that, it's my responsibility, ladies, if they come to you, to say, you know, thank you so much, but, you know, I don't feel that comfortable with you keep telling me that. You know, I am in an exclusive relationship, and we need to get down with the get down and share with people. Now, I'm not going to broadcast my exclusive relationships on social media. No more. I learned my lesson. I'll never do it again. But when I get into another exclusive relationship, and I am, I will let it be known to whoever comes to address me in a kind of not so good way that I'm not available. If I have made it a decision with that person that we're going to be for each other, then I need to be for that guy. And what I'm seeing a lot is that there's a lot of flirtatiousness happening. So the lines are blurred, even amongst Christians. I even see it sometimes in married couples where I'm like, oh, they're married. But why do I feel him kind of digging that chick This ought not be. And you know why? Because sex is mental. And you don't have to say a word. You can think a thing. You can think a thing, and it can rouse up on the inside of you. And so you have to guard your heart, you have to guard yourself, and you definitely have to guard your relationships. So that's the aspect about, is sex all mental? I think it is. I think you want to have great sex. And hear me, I'm not a sex therapist, but I've read a lot. I took a lot of my minor in graduate school, and emphasis was on sex therapy and all of that. So, and I did that on purpose, because I wanted to help bring sexual healing to the church, to the people of God. We are missing out. Your husband should be excited. Your wife should be excited about you. And no matter if you're big or small, it's not about the bigness or the smallness, but it is, let me say this. I found out with men that it is about respect. And so women, if our tone is all crazy, they tune us out, because our tone is crazy. And so, and we're disrespecting them, and to shut them down from having sex with them, especially if they've not cheated on you or something of that nature, that's a level of like disrespect. You know what I'm saying? It crushes their little ego. And found out that studies say, and we're going to talk about it on another Mental Monday, that men have to have sex. It actually helps them to not get prostate cancer. This is the real deal. I'm not telling y'all something I heard. I read it. The research is in. Okay, now don't go running and say, well, the research is in. But for real, men have to have sex. So I don't know how these men are not married and not having sex. That's a whole nother conversation. So I said, well, what about the ladies? Don't we have to have it? And I think we get the sex in a different kind of way, you know, that mental part, right? So I'm sharing with all of you, and I want to share with all of you on Mental Mondays, a variety of different topics, but I'm very serious about the sexual part, because I think that perversion arises when we're not truthful about where we are or where we've been. I had a Christian woman, this is the God honest truth. I had a Christian woman share with me. She said, oh, I want to talk to you about something I had a conversation with me and some friends. And so I said, sure, okay. And she knows I'm people's therapist, blah, 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 blah. But in my spirit, because I use discernment, I felt like this is a question, and it was really her, that it was about her. And she ended up saying she had been married for, I think, 10 or 12 years, and she never had an orgasm. Now, come in a little bit closer, okay? And I want you to come in real close, people of God. Let me tell you something. You are not to be married, I don't care who you are, for 10 or 12 years and not have experienced an orgasm. What in the world is going on? And how come you're not able to communicate that with your lovely, saved husband? Something is up. You need to say, hey, she said she had never, she don't know if she had ever had an orgasm, was what she told me. And I was like, whoa. And I said, well, does sex feel good to you when you have it? She was like, yes. And I said, have you ever felt like you just wanted to scream or cuss? And she looked at me like I said something wrong. I said, let me tell you something. I'm saved, sanctified with the Holy Spirit. But in my marriage, and if I'm married and having great sex with my husband, some cuss words might come out. God knows what else might come out, right? So she said, as a Christian believer, being married 10 or 12 years, she never had an orgasm with her saved Christian husband. And I said, something's wrong with that. That means that there's some communication on a variety of different parts and levels that's not being spoken. And this is why I believe that the work that I do is so important, because we got to deal with some issues and situations. And so I told her what sites she can go to in Kama Sutra and all that kind of stuff, and with some books that she can go to get at Barnes and Nobles. And I asked her to follow up with me to let me know and all of that. I said to share the information with your husband. And, and come to find out she'd had a little bit of some sexual molestation growing up. So it kind of made her a little bit kind of, not as free sexually. And I get it, because I was sexually molested too, and date raped at 14. It wasn't ongoing, but it was enough. And so it can mess with you. But that's the part where you let the Lord come in and say, Lord, heal me. Heal that sexual place that's not right. And he will heal you. And I did tell her that it was, sex is psychological, it's mental. So she went and got the books, and maybe about 2 months later afterwards, she came and she said, oh my God. She said, I have now had an orgasm because I hadn't experienced what I've now experienced. And this is why I'm saying that we can't live in silence, people of God. We got to reach out and talk to somebody. So had she not said it was her friend, and I deserved that it was her, she would not be enjoying this. She's still married. So that was a couple years ago. So probably like 16 years of marriage. And I know she's happier. And I'm sure her husband is happy too, in terms of being able to have an orgasm and being married and being saved. And people don't even talk about it. But who knows how many more of you Christian folks out there that do not have orgasms. So sex is mental. You should be making love to your husband before he gets home. Yes, he's going to be tired. Yes, but I'm telling you, most men are not going to turn down sex. Guess what? Meet him at the door when he walks in and say, hey, how was your day? And then do what only married couples do before and after and all of that good stuff. And foreplay with his mind, foreplay with the strength of who he is, foreplay with his brilliance. Oh my God, you got to get in the process of letting everything that God has given you work in your favor for your spouse. So I want to take some questions and some comments. And I see people chiming in on all sorts of areas because we're almost coming to our close because we only want to go for about a half an hour. And some segments of our show will be for an hour and things of that nature. But we definitely wanted to just go for an hour. We will be talking about sexless marriages. And when you've lost the flame, and let me just address this, because I've had many people recently, and I want to thank my brothers for reaching out to me. And let me say this to my sisters that are married. You cannot tend to the house of the Lord, and hear me very clearly, more than you tend to your house. It is so important. If you've got issues with your husband and they're unresolved, lovely women of God, I think it would behoove you to take time and let your seeking be unto the Lord concerning getting your relationship well with your spouse. I'm going to go to the grave with probably 1 million of people's problems. And God knew that he could trust me because I never would defame anybody. I'm never going to talk about anybody's stuff. That's just how he made me. So many people across the country confide in the counselor in me, and I confide in God, and that is where it stays because I know that this is my assignment. But I'm talking in this tone because it's serious, women of God. You can't be all over the world. You can't be all over your job. You can't be all on Facebook, and your relationship with your husband is jacked up. You just can't do that. You need to stop. Don't pronounce not another thing. Don't declare another thing. You got to go home and fix what needs to be fixed. Somewhere something has happened. And you can't blame your husband. Because something I've been finding out about our men and no one talks about? They're just as hurt and wounded as we are. They weren't the only ones that we weren't the only ones that went through some crazy, hellish marriages that didn't work out. Some of these sisters have dragged these brothers through some crazy, hellish marriages. Christian women, sanctified women, have done some doggish stuff to some really great men. And they are wounded, and they are hurt, and they feel some kind of way, and they just as hurt as we are. But nobody deals with the fact that our men are hurt and wounded. And then when they get with and find a good woman, myself and all the other good women out there, they so hurt and wounded, they ain't got no love no more to give, they ain't got no romance to give, and it's like, what in the world is going on here? And so this is what I want to share if you are married, and hear me clearly. If you are in a relationship right now, a marital relationship that is not so well, people of God, hear me clearly. Don't preach to me about women's lib and feminist stuff and all that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want you declaring and decreeing nothing. Go and get your house in order. Do your first works first. I didn't tell you to marry him. You married him. And if there's a place of reconciliation, let me sip on my coffee so I don't get stoned to death. If there is a place of reconciliation, then do it. Many people always ask me, do you see any hope for you and your ex-husband? I do not. There is no hope. There is none. And that's okay too. He is a great father to our children, and I thank God for that. But there is no hope, and I'm okay with that. And he's not okay with that at this time because he realizes, and that's okay too. But I'm okay with that. Moving on, have moved on. Because if we be truthful, let me backtrack and then I'll come back to my thought for us women. If we be truthful, some of these marriages that didn't work, they was never supposed to be. We can say, oh, God willed it. No. It was permissible will. You did it out of God's will. And it cost you. You saw red flags. You saw blue flags. You saw all kind of flags that said don't do. And you did it anyway. So there it was. But as we move forward, now that you know to do better, James tells us if you know to do what's right and not do it, he says it's sin. So women, I'm talking to you from my heart. Don't leave your husband sexually unsatisfied. He's coming home. He's bringing you the checks. So you guys had an argument last week. Deal with the argument last week. Don't let it go on for another year. And then you get really upset and angry and he do something that you withhold sex for 2 or 3 weeks. I just had somebody tell me in my inbox that they've not had sex for like 9 months. I don't know about you, but I can't be in the house with a man and not have no sex. That's why I can't shack up. Because I don't know about like you stay over there and I stay over here. Because it's in my natural being drawn to the man. So women, do your part. And if it's not reconcilable, then you got to do the next part. But don't hang that man's life up. Don't hang your life up. Don't degrade him. Don't demean him. We always talk about the world system is emasculating the men. Let me tell you something, women. Most women are emasculating the men, speaking ill of them, treating them crazy in front of people and peers, disrespecting him in the house. So what? He lost his job and he ain't worked for a year and a half. For the last 13 years when you've been married, he's been working. When y'all was just young and crazy in love, he helped you get out of your mama's house. You don't remember that though. He bought you your first car. Hello, lights, camera, action. When your credit was jacked up, he got your credit in the black. But we forget all of that when they're down and out. I'm a true sister. I'm true all the way. I'm loyal. I'm all of that to my husband. My husband gets the loyalty. Not every Tom, Dick, and Harry. So I'm saying to you women, don't let every Tom, Dick, and Harry get your loyalty. And the husband that you are espoused to gets nothing. One thing that burns me up is when I see a woman of God, praising these men over the pulpit, all this stuff, and your husband, you jack him up with your words every day. Ain't nothing you can say to me. Not a thing that you can say to me about God is great and so Bishop so-and-so is such a great man of God, but you treat your man of God crazy. Get out of here. Yes, I'm adamant about it because you jack up the men for those of us who are waiting for good men and know that there are great men out there. Don't do that. Don't highly esteem the man of God. I don't care if he's your spiritual father. When you get married, that should be your spiritual father. He is your covering, your husband. And if he's not cheated on you and did all this kind of stuff and he's trying his best and all of that, you are obligated by God's covenant to be there for him. And so my time is up and we have been so excited right now. And I'm so glad for everybody that's joined and all of that. But do you have any questions? We have a few moments. Right now we have about 10 minutes or so of questions. I am passionate. I think women, I'm a little hard on us women because we are not telling the truth. And I'm going to talk about it on another segment about going rogue after divorce. Going rogue. And I'm going to tell my own business. We go rogue after divorce and get sexual after divorce and we saved. But we want to call men dogs. But you pack your bag and go sleep with your boyfriend or the guy you've been dating for whatever amount of time and that just ain't right. And we dog them out, but you secretly getting you some. Come on, stop this foolishness. We all got to get sanctified. It ain't just the men need to get sanctified. The women need to get sanctified because we doing some stuff, women. We having relationships on the job with the coworkers. Yeah, we are. We having office relationships. We texting, quote unquote, our brothers. And our brothers give us a certain kind of feeling in their conversation. The devil is a lie. And so I'm telling you, watch it. I am not going to be that friendly with my husband's friends. So let's get a scenario. Let's say, for example, I marry a fine, handsome, well-to-do man of God. You better know it. And so he's a preacher, and he's awesome preacher, man of God. Let me tell you what I'm not going to do. His friends is his friends. I will never be in their face. I don't care what. His friends will never be able to say they had Lakita Denise Long because I ain't that kind of chick. I'm nice. I'm approachable. I'm be cute. But his friends and his friends' friends will never be able to say they had me. But one thing that must take place, women of God, we cannot be all so common with our husband's friends and they are elevated in a high place. If your husband is a musician, even if you are a singer, you can be friends while your husband is there. But we're not chummy because I love my husband too much. So I'm not chummy with my husband's preacher friends. They can't call me. You can't hug me. You can't get advice from me. Go talk to my husband. And the moment you do it one time, I'm going to tell you, but I'm also going to tell my husband. I'm going to say, honey, the other day, when we was all standing around, Bishop so-and-so, when he shook my hand, it kind of had a little bit of a sexual connotation to it. I just want you to know, because I snatched my hand back so he would know. I love you. I don't love him. I ain't tricking into no flirting and all of that foolishness, and I'm going to tell on the first time. So I'm just letting it be known, women, we've got to start speaking up. Quit playing with that fire. You're going to get burned. You thinking the grass is green on the other side. Let me tell you something. I want my husband. I want the one that's going to come home to me, love me, take care of me and my kids, because I'm going to take care of him all the way around. When I get in his life, his stock go up. There's an immediate upgrade, but so do mine. He's going to build me up. I can be strong. When I come home, I'm whatever he want me to be. Porn, trickster, star, whatever. Whatever my husband wants me to be, 5-inch heels, come to the bed with no clothes, whatever. That's what I'm going to be. But his friends ain't going to know what I am. So we have to guard. We got to guard ourselves, women of God. Quit playing. Quit playing. These men are precious. If you got a husband, cherish him. If you're about to get a husband, cherish him. Cherish the man. Love him. He's called to help us and build us. We're called to enhance him and to do that. And let's do it well. Do it well. Don't be waiting 2 and 3 months after his friend has done these sexual innuendos. The devil is a liar. I'm telling. If my husband is a man of God, which he will be, and he will love me, and the first time I'm saying, honey, oh my God, so-and-so, so-and-so. When he hugged me, he tried to grab my butt. Oh my God. We know the difference. Expose that spirit. Nobody gets to rub my butt but my husband. Yes, I'm smiling. I don't know who he is, but I'm smiling. So I'm saying that because so I want you women to leave off this call if nothing else. Sex is mental, but I want you to, women, tell first. Tell. Say, I'm telling. Tell them, you know what I'm telling. You tell the man from the first time, he'll never do it to you or another woman again, especially a woman of God. Don't do me like that. I'm not your freak. I'm my husband's freak. And you don't get a chance. We're not doing threesomes. This spirit that's looming in the church is crazy. I don't want no threesome. I will create a threesome with my husband. I know how to do it because I'm mental. Hello? So we've got to tell and quit playing and know the difference. Any questions that you guys have? It's been so exciting. I'm telling you, this Mental Monday is I don't know where it's going, but I know it's going to be a blessing. We won't just be talking about sex. I'll be talking about how to restore marriages that are beyond on the brink. So I'll be talking about all kind of topics. Yeah, you're right. You heard me, Sister Lori. Threesomes. The threesomes in the church house Oh, they doing some crazy stuff. Look, that's right, Evangelist Sheila. I'm not your trick or your treat. Tell. Especially you got a good husband. I already know I'm going to have a good husband because I'm a great wife. I'm a great woman. My ex-husband, he hates that we're divorced now. And he treats me well, but it bothers him and will bother him to his grave. But I'm a great wife. I'm a great friend. And my husband's going to love everything about me. And I'm telling you, I'm going to love everything about him. He is going to be so happy that he left all his hurt and woundedness that he got from his first marriage and whatever else. And he's going to be so happy because it's going to show. I'm good for him. I'm totally going to be good for my husband. And so are you. But get things right at home. Get things right at home with your spouse. So give me some questions or comments. If you're just chiming in, this is Lakita Long, and this is our Mental Monday show. We'll be coming every Monday at 11:30, generally for about 30 minutes. Sometimes it'll be an hour, depending on the topic. And so today was our launch, so we're kind of going a little bit longer. This was our first launch, and so I want you to share with people everywhere to chime in on Mondays at 11:30, right here live on Facebook. We're going to get an opportunity of a lifetime to discuss some real issues that are necessary. I want to see us whole and healthy and all of that. And you know, it's just time, people of God. And let me just say this to my sisters. I have a book coming out called Sister Check, the things that we should know about relationships. I am hard on us women because we do a lot of things. We're playing a lot of games. And I think we're going to miss, yes, we are that man's good thing, but we're going to miss having a great thing in him also because we're playing games. I want to warn the women of God that are single. You better not stack up yourself like the world. You better not look at the world system of relationships and call it what you want. As a matter of fact, I've matured so much that I've learned that I want what God wants for me. God is going to bless me in a great, great way. I know it. I feel it. And it's going to happen. Something's going to happen even before this year is out. I know that too. I want us to be ready because I've been studying the scriptures about submit. And the Lord's given me great revelation, and I'll talk about it another time. But you're not submitted to God when you're unwilling to let God speak to you concerning certain things. We make mistakes as women sometimes because we go into even just relationships and friendships marriage-minded. And I don't agree, women of God and men of God, I don't agree that I'm not dating. Now I tell guys right off the bat, I'm not a good girlfriend, but I'm an excellent wife. And hope that's not to scare you. I love to become friends and find out what can happen. But I'm just not a good girlfriend. You know why? Because I believe that if you're mine, I want all of you. If you kissing on me and, we cuddling and all that, I don't want you going to your house and I got to go to mine with all that sexual frustration. So I'm not a good girlfriend. I want to be a wife to my husband. And as I was studying the scriptures, I found out something. We're not really that submitted to God. So we're not really going to be submitted to our husbands. And what I mean by that is that people are looking at God as having more power as being a place of submission. And I believe that learning your role as a woman is being submissive unto the Lord. The scripture says that's fit as unto the Lord. And so, are you gracious? Are you soft? I get it. I'm an independent woman. But I'm going to tell you something that I've learned. And I've had both sides. I've had a nanny. I've had lots of money. I know what it's like to be stay-at-home. I know what it's like to have cooks and all that kind of stuff. And a little wifey allowance and $5,000 a month and not work and blah, 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 blah. I'm a single mom. I get help from the dad in terms of him helping to take the kids and do X, Y, and Z. But I am telling you, I don't like to do some of this stuff by myself. I just don't. And I do it because I have to. But trust me, I am not allowing myself to be hardened because I'm doing it now. I'm remaining soft. I'm getting myself prepared to be gracious because no man wants another man in his relationship. So I trust that this time has been fruitful and helpful for all of you. Share with other folks about it. We're going to talk about some real sensitive stuff, sex in the pulpit, that you're so sexual preachers with your congregation. And not that you're having sex with them, but you won't even touch your wife. Because it goes both ways. It's not the wives only withholding from their husbands. Some husbands have not been having sex with their wives. And that's not right either. We'll talk about it. So be soft. Don't let the world system make you hard. Don't let this pursuit of trying to get this job and these degrees make you something else. Let me tell you something. One of the greatest things God could have done for me is not allow any of those 220 applications that I initially put in after I got divorced to all these great jobs all across the country to not happen. He didn't let not a one come into fruition. And in hindsight, now I understand how great that was for me. Because if I had went right into working as a divorced person who went through a lot of trauma in my marriage, I probably would be hardened. Yeah, I have money, but I'm hard. I'm not submissive. I'm trying to prove a point. So God said, I'm going to break you all the way down to get you back to your natural state of being a woman. And then I'm going to build you up so you can be soft and gracious and loving and kind. So I hope that this has been a blessing to you guys. Do you have any questions? I have a few moments. You can. And we can talk and chat about it. Make sure you have any questions. You can inbox me questions. They are confidential. I'm the only person that checks my inbox. Or you can email me. I'm the only person that checks my email at lakitalong.org. Questions, comments. And I'm going to be asking for people to come onto the show and all of that. And I'm just super excited about Mental Mondays. We're going to get healed. We're going to have hope. And we're going to heal from our hurt. Because now is the time to do something that we've never done. I love you so much. God bless you. And remember, God's got something great in store for you. Heal yourself from your hurt and watch God bring you great success. Love you much. Mwah. Happy Monday and happy Labor Day to all of you. Bye-bye.